Porsche Taycans continue to drop as we're heading into 2024. Some cars lost more than 40% since May 2022. This is of course not an isolated effect. At the moment, EVs in general are experiencing higher depreciation rates than their ICE counterparts. Bad news for owners, but could offer worthwhile buying opportunities for those of you who like a good deal. Taycans can now be found for $55,000 to $60,000. But all of this doesn't matter if you're still losing 40% in less than 2 years. However, if rates are decreasing, you could get yourself an awesome value for money Taycan. In this video we'll figure out what the depreciation rates are for the different models and if we can already see a bottoming formation in the price trends. We start with some high level overviews. Over here we can see the median price development for the base and S models. We can see that prices held up fairly well till mid 2022, but then came crashing down. Compared to May 2022, S models lost 40.1% or $50,900, and for base models this is 34.5% or $35,700. Naturally, this means that the price premium for the S model decreased and that, in a way, it became the better value for money option here. Now compared to last year, prices are down by 22.3% in the base market and by 28% in the S market. And these rates amount to $19,400 and $29,600 respectively. Now in the GTS market, the depreciation rates are also high. We can see that prices are 34% lower than in May 2022, and that this amounts to $59,400. Compared to last year, owners are looking at a loss of 23.5% or $35,500. So this means that the GTS depreciated approximately at the same rate as the base model. Also, the turbo models don't disappoint when it comes to crazy depreciation rates. We can see that normal turbos lost 40% since May 2022, and that this is 39.9% for the S's. This means that the absolute value loss sits at $63,900 and $72,500 respectively. Compared to last year, normal turbos are down by 26.4% and S's by 24.4%, and this amounts to $33,700 and $35,200. Eye-watering numbers. Now if we summarize all of the results, we can see that Taycans lost between 22.3% and 28% during last year, and that the total depreciation fluctuates between 34% and 40%. Now at first, it doesn't seem that Taycans are offering good value for money, right? Depreciation rates are still high and prices are still falling linearly. We couldn't really see any bottoming patterns, but that's just because we didn't look at the right place. If we dig a little bit deeper, we can see that the Taycan market might experience lower depreciation rates in the near-term future. That's good news for everyone who wants to pick up a used example. Let me show you. Over here we have the price development for the base model broken down by model year. This shows that the oldest cars, so the ones from 2021, lost relatively little during the last 3 months. Between November and February they came down by 4.4%, while it used to be between 7 and 8%. Annualizing this 4.4%, we would arrive at a rate of approximately 16%, a rate that we also see for other high-end ICE cars. But this change in the depreciation rate for one model in the most recent price period is of course not really convincing, right? It could be the result of chance, but it also appears in the rest of the market. Now if we look at the same chart for the S models, we can see that prices for 2020 and 2021 models started to flatten slightly. But we cannot exaggerate this flattening. Prices are still falling quickly. It does seem to be so though that the depreciation rate finally started to decrease. Also in the turbo market we can see these signs. We can see that 2020 and 2021 turbo S's and 2021 turbos lost less during the last 6 months than in the preceding 6 months. Again, no drastic changes, but small indications that things are changing in the Taycan market. Only in the GTS market we cannot see this flattening. However, it are not only the price trends themselves which are indicating that the Taycan market is normalizing. Also the inventory levels are more stable and discount rates less high. Over here we can see the development in the carried over inventory. That is, the percentage of cars that aren't sold within 3 months. If this number is increasing, it means that cars are selling slower, and this typically means higher depreciation rates. Looking at the development of the carried over inventory, we can see that it basically increased up until last summer, and then decreased slightly or stabilized. This is an indication that the market is more balanced than before. Moreover, rates between 30 and 40% are similar to other markets, meaning that 30 to 40% of the cars that are for sale were also for sale 3 months ago. Now for sellers, unsold cars in a high depreciating market are of course a bit difficult. Cars are losing value quickly and you don't want to have them sitting around for too long. They need to sell. And one way to do this is by discounting the cars. If we look at the price changes for unsold cars, we can see that sellers were a bit optimistic when these things hit the market and quickly realized that discounts are required. February 2022 was the low point. Unsold assets were discounted by an average rate of 11%. However, since then, discount rates decreased. They sit now at 7% for all models, and this represents a marginal improvement for the turbos and base models, and a slightly larger improvement for the S models. Only in the GTS market we cannot see this improvement, but that market is also a lot smaller, so it's more difficult to get reliable estimates. Let's start to wrap up. We saw that Taycans are still depreciating at insane rates, but that we might see some normalization during the upcoming year. Prices for the oldest cars started to fall less quickly. Carried over inventory stabilized and is no longer increasing, and discount rates are slightly lower. Now I know that the Taycan is not everyone's cup of tea. Personally, I think they look cool, but I would never buy one for other than taxation reasons. Yet, I know that there are many of you out there who simply like the Taycan and have been waiting to pick up a great value for money used example. If you belong to this group, the upcoming year could be the first decent moment to make your purchase, as long as you do it with your eyes wide open. Naturally, even the oldest Taycans will still depreciate, and you should expect to lose a substantial percentage on your car. But the data indicates that it will be less than that we've seen so far, and more in line with normal depreciation rates for high-value luxury cars. Something to keep in mind though is the warranty period on the Taycans. Some have some issues. So this means that the normal warranty for a 2020 model is soon expiring, so you might want to get an extended warranty pack. Now when it comes to the battery, you could get close to the 100,000 miles limitation or the 8 years period. But to use the warranty between year 3 and 8, the battery needs to have a capacity of 70% or less. I couldn't find any extended warranty packs for the battery, but please let me know in the comment section if there exists such an option. And with that we arrive at the end of this video. Now if you enjoy this data-driven way of analyzing car prices, but you would like to see a video for a different car, head over to my channel. Over there you'll find detailed market updates for a large variety of cars. Can't find the car you're looking for? Let me know the name of that car by commenting it down below in the comment section. Once there are enough requests for a certain car, I'll make a video about it. As always, thank you for watching and I hope to see you next week for a new video.